young metro, don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you.
Hello everybody, this is CJ here from Three Black Geeks, and I am here with Matt Novack. He is a composer who, if you are Adult Swim watchers, he's done the show Children's Hospital, and he's also done movies like Role Models and Wanderlust, and he also did the recent movie that just came out, How to Be a Latin Lover. So how's it going, sir?
It's going good, Chris. How you doing?
I am doing really well. This is actually raised my curiosity because San Diego Comic-Con last year, we were supposed to get a chance to talk to some composers for different movies and such, and scheduling and all that stuff kind of messes it up and stuff, so didn't happen. So now it's kind of like, hey, we got an opportunity to actually talk to somebody that actually has done it. I've always been kind of curious and such. So I guess my first question would be, well, first off, congrats on the success of How to Be a Latin Lover, first off.
Oh, thank you so much, and also thank you for having me.
No problem.
I'm happy to have a talk.
How does one become a composer in music? Because I know that it's basically way different than, say, you're an actor and such trying to break into the movie business. So how does somebody break into doing TV and movies and such?
Gotcha. Well, it's a lot of work, and mostly just a lot of grunt work. I worked for a number of different composers as their assistants. I went to college before I went to college for film and TV scoring. So yeah, it's just a lot of work and meeting new people and gradually building up networking and contacts, and that never stops. And it keeps going. And it's gradually built up experience. And I think just like being an actor, or it's more, I compare it more to being a writer, a screenwriter. You just keep writing every day, keep meeting new people, keep trying, keep hustling, and then you little bit just get more and more successful.
Cool. For you, what has been easy? Well, I mean, what is do you prefer doing stuff for TV or movies, or is it all the same to you?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that question a lot lately. I've been balancing both TV and film projects. I think creatively, I love doing both. And Children's Hospital has been my favorite project I've ever done so far. But I think creatively, I tend to lean towards more film, just because there's usually a lot more time on a film project. TV schedules can be really hectic, and so it's sometimes it gets so hectic. I almost just whip, I write so fast sometimes I actually forget what I wrote.
Yeah.
That happened to me the other day. I was reviewing some cues. I'm like, oh, where's this cue come from? Oh, I wrote it a month ago. I completely forgot. But with film, you get some more time to really kind of develop a cool concept, really work with the directors and filmmakers to kind of collaborate and really kind of hopefully come out with an interesting, original and creative score. And not that you can't do that on TV, it's just sometimes, the deadline makes you make choices quicker than what you would with a film.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Out of the two Adult Swim ones, which did you like doing? Children's Hospital or the, NTSF SD SUV show?
Right. The Colin show.
Yeah.
I love them both. I have to pick Children's Hospital, though. I was on it all 7 seasons. It was my first kind of big job. I started on it when it was just a web series, and I think it was such. First of all those guys were so wonderful to work for. The nicest people, and creatively and comedically, just amazing. And with all the parodies and stuff, there's such like a boot camp of a composer, like a young composer, is like the perfect job to keep trying different things, trying new parodies, new styles, and things like that. And NTSF was a lot like that too. But it was a lot of fun in like the same ways and different ways. But I had to pick Children's Hospital.
So, like, did any of like the short stuff that you did? I know you did like a lot of short stories and stuff. Did any of that stand out in terms of like the music that you were doing?
Yeah, I think with each one, I tried to, whenever I would try to do a short for a friend, I'd try to do a style where I hadn't actually done it yet. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like almost like a studying opportunity for myself or a chance to grow. So I did a bunch of these horror shorts last year for some friends, and each one I tried to do something different. Like I hadn't really done much horror before, so each short I tried a different vibe, a different sound palette, and things like that. Just trying to make it each a little different. Does that answer your question? No,
that makes perfect sense. Like for Children's Hospital and stuff, there's like so many like range of like comedy and stuff, and the way stuff. I guess the way the comedy hits and the way the timing of it and stuff. So how does that work in terms of you trying to time the music and such for that?
Well, I think especially with Children's Hospital, I come from the school of thought where you almost score comedy seriously. Mm-hmm. So it's like especially with Children's Hospital, when it's it's so like the storyline is so bonkers and out there that I found that if you score it as seriously as possible, it actually makes it funnier rather than pointing out jokes. But in terms of timing, I found, especially when I was working on NTSF, actually kind of developed a strategy of almost accenting punchlines with negative space. So like we would have kind of a procedural motor going, and then with a punchline, we'd just stop the motor and just pull it out, just like almost like pause the music to leave space for a punchline. So I would always, for things like that, it was like always important to know where the humor was, where the punchline was, or if it was like a long form joke, how it escalated throughout an episode, and then make sure that I'm timing it out well and not stepping on the joke, and just accenting it in a way that helps the joke, and not pointing out, like telling the audience, "Hey, here's a joke. Get ready to laugh." Yeah. Just let's let the joke breathe.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Now you were doing some of the music composing for How to Be a Latin Lover. So what was, I guess, the challenge that you might have had with that movie?
Well, first of all, I worked with another composer, Craig Wedren, who has been a good friend, and I've worked with him for years. I actually started off as his assistant, and so he actually brought me onto that project as kind of the focus on the orchestral side of the score. So that was the challenge of that was from a feature film is I've done a lot of orchestral music, but that was kind of my first fully orchestral feature film score. So the challenge of that was just making sure that I was, working with Craig, and that we were kind of making sure that we were bouncing the right ideas off each other and not writing two completely different scores. And also making sure that the score, since with a feature, is like a lot more time, so make sure that it grows and paces well with the movie. It doesn't get too big too early. It doesn't, things like that. So I think it was just big picture things was the challenge to that score, making sure everything just kind of gelled and flowed from start to finish.
Yeah. Now, do a lot of the actors, whenever you're, doing the music and stuff, do they get a chance to actually listen to it, or is it just kind of like, they really don't care, I guess?
Us in post, we don't really have too many contacts with actors because they're usually done and maybe they're off on another job by the time we start working.
Yeah.
And with Latin Lover, though, the lead actor Eugenio Derbez, he was a producer. He was a producer on the film, so he actually visited Craig's studio when we did a music playback and got to hear some of the music and had some really constructive notes on it. It was cool, yeah. Hey, I love notes. I think when I was a young composer, I think every young composer like hates notes. It's like, how dare they note our music? But I've grown to learn that, like, it's a collaborative effort, and we're all trying to make the best. We're all trying to make the best product together. Yeah. So it can be fun. Notes can be fun.
Cool. Now, was Funny or Die, I know you did stuff for Funny or Die. Now, was Funny or Die like kind of prepping you for, like you said, you're doing like children's hospital stuff. So was that kind of like an early prep for you, kind of like doing those kind of short segment type material?
Yeah, it was. I got that job. The producer of those particular Funny or Die shorts was Jonathan Stern, who's also a producer on Children's Hospital. So it's I frequently score most of the things he does. So that was shortly after Children's made the leap to TV. So we were all kind of still young and figuring out how to work together. So that was a nice training ground. You're right. Got to work with some new people, got to try again in different styles, and I learned a lot from that because it was even more short format than Children's Hospital. So it's like I found you kind of have to have a very short window where you can say what all you want to say. You have to just get in and get out, which is its own challenge in a way. You don't have time to develop a theme. You just gotta say it and make sure it all says what you want it to say, and then you're done.
Cool. A buddy of mine's, he's podcasted with us. He had shown me this. I think when I told him that I was interviewing you, he mentioned that you did Spare Change, and I actually checked it out. And like I said, very dark comedy. I'm into those kind of things and stuff. So. Is there kind of a big difference scoring for a dark comedy compared to just a regular normal comedy, or is it just all relative?
It's all relative. I mean, every project is different. Thank you for checking out Spare Change.
Oh, no problem.
It's a movie I really love, and I'd like to see it get out more. Get some love out there. But I think, every project is a little different. I think with dark comedies, some of the especially with Spare Change, your main character is kind of making terrible choices. Yeah. Like in that, So, like in that case, she's pretending to be homeless rather than getting a real job. Yeah. So it's the challenge is like you want to make sure you're focusing on the characters and the comedy, and not dwelling so much on the terrible decision making. It's like, So like you keep it light and fun, and then save the really heavy stuff for the Dark Night of the Soul when the rug gets pulled out from under the main characters. So it's nice and heavy and emotional, but we still feel for them in a weird way. So that's the challenge. Like you still want to be emotionally invested in the characters, even though, like, if they're making decisions that in real life you would probably not really be emotionally.
Because the general idea when I was watching it, I was like, this looks like, how like the characters in Always Sunny always make just bad decisions. Like they have this idea and it's just like bad decisions. Like, all right, see where this is going. But like I said, it does have like some endearing things with it. So I was like, all right, cool. It doesn't like, they're not going too off the rails, but it's still kind of like, all right, this is actually pretty funny. Just the concept of it and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
What, like, in terms of films, what was your favorite film project to actually work on?
Ooh, that's tough. I really enjoyed working on How to Be a Latin Lover. It was just so much fun. It was about 6 months of work, and we had to do like a small live orchestra at the end, which I conducted, and that's just always so much fun. But I also I love them all. It's really hard for me to pick.
Yeah.
I think Latin Lover is the most recent one, so
Yeah.
it's the one that's most in my brain. Spare Change was great. The directors are good friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
A Better You was wonderful. I love the movie. It had like a really nice heart to it, and the director Matt Walsh is just wonderful. So yeah, I've been lucky to work with wonderful people, and so they just make every project just
All right, cool.
its own pleasure experience.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you're at liberty of saying anything. I mean, do you have any future projects maybe people can like look forward to hearing from you, I guess?
Sure. Actually working with Craig Wedren again. We're just wrapping up the new season of Wet Hot American Summer for Netflix.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And it's if you like the previous season, it's just as crazy, just as insane, and a lot more music this year. Like it's a lot bigger score and a lot more of it. I think it's gonna be really good.
All right, cool. So lastly, where can people, I guess, contact you, or guess you find you online or whatever, if you actually are active online?
Yeah, I'm trying to do more. I'm like most composers. I'm kind of a hermit, just writing music all day. And like, I actually need to talk with the outside world. But I'm on Twitter and Instagram, just Matt Novack,
right.
all one word.
All right, cool.
And Facebook and my website, mattnovack.com.
All right, cool. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and stuff. Like I said, this has definitely got me interested in checking out other composers and music. Because like I said, we, on our show, we always talk about a lot of people that do music and stuff. Because, we play a lot of video games, and some of the people that compose video games, they kind of bleed into movies and such. I know the guy, was it Henry Gregg Williamson or whatever, he did the Metal Gear games, and he also did a lot of movies. So it's like I'm like huge fans of those type of people that kind of like bleed in both areas and stuff. So definitely.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So thanks.
Very cool.
So thank you for your time, and appreciate it. So we will chat with you later, people. Laters.
Thank you so much, TJ. It was a pleasure.
No problem. Thanks.
Metro Boomin, want some more, nigga.